Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was a win for the ages, for the battlers, for the romantics, for the hard work, and the Western Bulldogs tonight just showed what class is. A wonderful win, 22-point victors over the Sydney Swans. A wonderful effort by the Sydney Swans in being a top of the ladder side all year. But congratulations to the Western Bulldogs tonight to see what we just saw there with Luke Beveridge presenting Bob Murphy with his Jock McHale medal. Just shows why this club is the #1 club in the competition. Winners of the AFL Premiership, winners of the VFL Premiership. Jason Johannesson, winner of the Norm Smith medal. They have had the clean sweep and they deserve all the accolades tonight. Dermot Brereton, Jonathan Brown, Alistair, great to be with you again, mate. Alistair Lynch. Boys, the fairy tale does come true sometimes, and it was just wonderful.
Oh, we'll talk about, obviously we're going to dissect the game very, very soon. I'm actually a bit teared up seeing Bob Murphy up on stage.
Well, that's right. In the last 10 minutes, I went down into the crowd and was where the Bulldogs supporters were. They were jumping all over me. I've got nothing to do with the club. But Brownie, more so for yourself, Liam Picken was down there. He played a massive game. Your cousin, how'd you feel?
Mate, I did tear up when he kicked that last goal. It was just so emotional. I thought my heart was going to jump out of my chest. It was amazing, and I'm so happy for the lad who'd, he'd been at Williamstown as a rookie list, but it got on the rookie list at the Bulldogs. Williamstown paid half his salary, and now to go all the way to the top. It's emotional. You can't help but get caught up in it.
It was great. Just see the tears rolling down grown men's face in there, and it was just, it's just so, you're so happy to actually see it.
So many great stories. Jonathan, Derm, you're probably the same. I used to wear Billy Picken's number on my back when I was a kid.
Didn't he look like him when he went
when he took that mark, I was with Billy.
What the better hang.
That's right. But you know what?
Here comes Billy's boy.
Billy was nearly best on ground in all those grand finals, five grand finals. And to see his son today just do it after all the heartache he's gone through, to watch his cousin, win 3 premierships, and then for Liam Picken to play the game today that he did was just sensational.
The whole family's just so happy for him, and we're so proud of him. It's obviously been a huge challenge off the field as well. He's got a young family, had twins that almost didn't make it. They were premature at 26 weeks. They spent 100 days in hospital. They got through that all the same time Liam Picken was trying to play football and going through that turmoil behind the scenes. But it was unbelievable.
Where does the romance start? Jason Johannesson, we saw him come off the ground earlier this year. He may not have come back on. He ripped that hamstring so badly off the bone. It's one of those ones, sometimes you don't come back from it.
Well, when Murphy and Johannesson were gone at the start of the year, I thought, well, Bulldogs can't win it.
Then Wallace breaks his leg. They have, over the last 2 years, they've almost fallen off the cliff, but they've just skyrocketed up. How many people in the media took the baseball bat to Big Tom Boyd? He's been smashed from pillar to post. He's got good coin, not his fault. During the final series, he stood up 6 contested grabs today.
But he did them all as a ruckman. He took one inside forward 50, but the ball was coming back out. He was actually on ball at the time.
His defensive marking was old-fashioned ruck work. Gary Dempsey, John Schultz would have been proud of it. But I must admit, there was a certain amount of, irony, if you want to say, or anything else, but when Buddy Franklin coughed that handball up in the turnover under enormous pressure, nothing Buddy could do, and Boyd kicked it. You had the $2 million men, one who's been lauded, one who's been pummeled, and the young boy stood up and kicked the goal when required.
You probably don't like me bringing this up, but 2011, Eddie, we saw Tom Hawkins. He came good. He had a big second half against the Magpies.
Made him.
And that was the making of it. For 3 or 4 years previous to that, he had copped a lot of criticism. Tom Hawkins. Tom Boyd has been the same, but now has got that confidence. He's going to be unstoppable now.
Ed, you would have had a relationship with Peter Gordon over the years. I mean, from the time they essentially merged in '89 with the Fitzroy Footy Club, they de-merged because they rattled the cans. The same fans that were rattling the cans were out here today to see that. They went through all sorts of peaks and troughs and battling to actually stay alive.
Absolutely, Alistair. Peter's a good friend of mine, and tonight his family are up there with the last people I saw before I came out here and gave them a hug, and they're just so happy, so delighted. But Peter had unfinished business, and he came back when David Smorgon had run out of effort. There was nothing more he could give. And people may not realise there was another discussion about a merger later on in David Smorgon's lounge room, and I was there. And what happened, though, that day was that David Smorgan and Henry Jolson QC, who died recently of cancer in the last 12 months or so, just said, we can't do it. I know we're dead. And David Smorgan stood up in a president's meeting in tears and said, we've got 10 days before the banks shut us down. And the entire football presidents and all the hard-bitten commission looked at each other and said, we can't let this happen. No. We can't let it happen. And then the footy world came together. And this is a win for hard work and ingenuity. There've been no handballs or free kicks for the Dogs. Yeah, they've got extra payments, but that's because they've got a dud deal down at Etihad and all the other things. And you know what? They now might be the vanguard. They might be more important than GWS as GWM, Greater Western Melbourne, to get that heartland back for footy.
Well, that's the thing. They have got the opportunity now on the back of this wave to actually develop into a superpower.
Of course,
they've always been the cellar dwellers as far as membership and corporate support is concerned. But they've got rock stars out there today. Yeah. They've got they've got a sexy team, if you like, and on the back of this, just hopefully they can rise and be a superpower.
I think it's a desirable location for players because of Luke Beveridge. You hear stories about him. He's a real players coach. The players love him because he's so positive.
Well, because what we saw then. I mean, how good's that?
I mean, you can play your career, and you know, we've got kids, and they're the most valuable things in our life. But the one thing that symbolises his success is the medallion from a grand final win. And he just gave his away for the love of a bloke who did his knee. Now that is the crowning glory of his career, Luke Beveridge. A medallion for a grand final win as coach. He just took it off and put it on another bloke's neck.
I reckon he saw that his captain was as much a coach this year as anything else, and he's sharing the spoils with him. Peter Gordon, you know what? He actually symbolises to me the renaissance of this club. Yeah. In that when he was the president the first time, he was 32 years of age when he jumped in. Yeah. He didn't have a brass razoo. He was a young lawyer on the go, combative in there doing things. When he handed it over, he was shot. He was gone. He'd given all he could at that stage. He then went on and took on the world in his legal practice and has built himself into a massively successful businessman. When he's come back, he's had all the experience. He had a bit of coin. He paid for Tom Boyd out of his pocket. He and his family have put millions of dollars in. I'm going to embarrass him. He has put money in and been there for them. He's made the hard calls. Only 12 months ago, he was an interfering, overbearing president, was the headline.
Only probably 3 or 4 months ago when another CEO got the clip.
Well, sometimes you've got to break an egg to make an omelette.
You got clipped.
That's it. And you know what? Last night he had a dinner at home, and Simon Garlick was there, and all the greats. Right. Smorgo gave a great speech, I'm told, and he's healed the club. So while he's had to give some tough love, he's absolutely cuddled them at the same time. And you know what? And today, he is the king of the mountain at the Western Bulldogs, and I congratulate Peter Gordon on a sensational performance of leadership in the highest office at his club. And then for Luke Beveridge and for his two captains, Easton Wood on the field. Let's not forget Easton Wood. And, of course, the great Bob Murphy and the band of merry men. And,
they're stars.
I'll tell you one thing. The crime rate in Victoria is going to be down tonight, everyone.
You know, one thing that will happen. The one thing that will happen is 17 other teams will chase the Dogs now. They've, in a moderate way, once again have changed the way footy's played. Their exit handball from stoppages, from scrimmages, from real congestion was game-breaking, and that's won them, literally won them 3 finals games in a row, the last 3.
I'm sure, like Clarkson, like Hawthorn, they'll try to evolve as well. But just, we've all been in the position where that final siren goes and you're in front. I mean, how good a feeling is that? And that's what so many of these supporters have felt tonight.
We've never experienced it. Most of the supporters would never have experienced it.
No, absolutely.
Wouldn't have been alive to see.
But you know what? These battlers from the Bulldogs territory, from the western side of town, who never get a break, who never get a win, who always feel whatever they do, they're always like Sisyphus pushing the boulder up the hill only for it to roll down again and start again. And tonight, they are the kings of Australia. I'm so happy for them. You know, there's only one win that could have made me happier, to be honest. Go on there, doggies. Well done, guys.
Probably hard off the top of your head, Ed, but I don't think we've seen another comeback in Australian sport as quick as this. 2 years ago, they were a mess. They were broken.
Well, we might see one tomorrow with Cronulla, to be honest, after everything they've been through. But, no, this is just fantastic. I mean, this was a club that, as we said, have had their rebirths, but never, you know, get to the preliminary final, 7 preliminary final losses, never feel they can get anywhere. The system was locked against them. Don't forget they could only pay 95% of their salary capital recently. So I'll say this, equalisation is what you can put on the ground, not what you put in the bank.
Oh, it's exactly the key people you put into your footy club to develop the talent you've got and motivate, and that's why we see this record success in 1954 with some super players, one more chance in 61 that didn't work, and it said right up to the last couple of years when it could have been a basket case, but now they've got the silverware in the cupboard.
There's
and there's
every reason though, Lynch, every reason to say the Doggies won't win today. And you have a look at all these, the last decade, every grand final winner, we roll them all in. The average AFL experience, 131. Collingwood won with 107 games experience in 2010. They've won today with 81. They have broken every trend to win this AFL grand final.
Not only that, but they've come from sevens.
Never done before.
Had to win
play
4
in
games.
Western Australia. They had to go across to the Subiaco 2 weeks after they got flogged over there. So they went back-to-back Subiaco games. Then they went up to GWS to play on the best home ground advantage ever given to anyone in the history of finals, probably since 1945 bloodbath at Princes Park when Carlton beat South Melbourne. And then to get up and win, it beat Hawthorn.
Well, they have not won 4 games in a row for the year. But today was their 4th win as well.
And you know, you should be proud, Doom, as a Hawthorn bloke, and I'm being serious now, because to be the champion, you have to beat the champions. And they beat the champions.
They did.
And they won the premiership.
Well,
there's nothing, I can't think of any negative that you could possibly come up with.
We just talked about it off air too, the week off before the finals. Without the week off, the Bulldogs don't beat West Coast because they got 5. That's right.
I reckon there'll be a couple of froggies going.
They got 5 good players back into the lineup that wouldn't have played if the final had been held the week before. So the bye worked.
Well,
it sort of opened the finals up.
You know what? We had a final 8 this year.
Yeah, we did.
And don't forget that the seven top teams. There was a game between them, so they were all up there. No one got a free ride. Everyone's had a good win. No one can complain, and that's it. Doesn't matter. Bottom line is this, and I'm proud to say it. After 62 years of blood, sweat, and tears, the Western Bulldogs are the AFL premiers. And look at this.
Well, this is as they're on the brink of going over the cliff.
Yeah.
Best and fairest is injured. A Brownlow medalist walks out.
Your star forward gets rubbed out by Wada. That's never happened before. Hamstring tear. Mitch breaks his leg. Jack Redpath, of course, let's not forget him, the ruptured ACL. It's been a hard road, and that's where it ended.
Yeah, it's unbelievable pitches, Easton Wood was fantastic in the leadership role throughout the season. You know, big shoes to fill, and obviously Bob Murphy was there to give him advice. But he has been fantastic, Easton Wood. He's able to keep his own form up while captaining the side and leading well.
Remember, they've had some good sides in recent decades, and one of our great commentating partners, Brad Johnson, imagine how he's going right now. He'll be a blubbering mess. We're nearing tears. Imagine how Jono's going. We've got the 5 prelims.
We were going to hook him up 5 minutes ago, but he is a blubbering mess at this point in time. We'll get to him soon down in the doggies' rooms. He will be beside himself.
Well, I think today it's brought the football community together.
There he is.
There he is.
Jono, look at Beveridge. What a wonderful scene it is. I think that, to paraphrase John F. Kennedy, I think ich bin ein Bulldogger today. We're all Bulldoggers today.
During the game, I sat up next to Luke Darcy, and obviously Luke played a significant role in getting Luke Beveridge across, and said he will only come on the selection panel if they interview Luke Beveridge. Waited for him to get back from overseas, went through the interview process, made the appointment.
That was amazing. I think the Bulldogs started the pre-season that year without a coach.
Or a captain.
Or a captain, because they were waiting for Luke Beveridge to get back from the US.
Incredible.
And well done to Luke Darcy, because he was the driving force. I know I'd sit next to Luke in the morning on Triple M, and I remember that period that he was holding, and he just wanted him to be given that interview. And of course, the St Kilda boys, because he'd signed to be the St Kilda football director at that stage, and they said as soon as he goes to the interview, he'll get this. And he's a wonderful man. He's revolutionised football, and he's changed it a lot. You know, the old rah-rah, hard, all that, it's gone now. EQ is equal to IQ.
Last week when Mitch Wallace was on the couch on Monday night, I asked him, has Luke Beveridge ever given you a spray, given the whole team a spray? He goes, he tried once and he's no good at it. Yeah. So he stopped doing it. He says he's all so positive. And, you know, the way they train, they play a lot of games, a lot of handball games. lot of instinctive games. He really puts the trust in the players to back themselves and have a crack.
And let's not forget, Luke Beveridge's grandfather, Jack Beveridge, was part of the Collingwood 4 premierships in a row. His father, John Beveridge, is a life member of the St Kilda Football Club, is one of the great recruiters and one of the great people. Luke comes in, coaches 3 first time ever C grade, B grade, A grade amateurs. Then he works through the system. He works at Collingwood. He went back into the public service because he had a pay issue with getting his superannuation out. And then he went to Hawthorn and went to finishing school at Al Clarkson.
That's right.
He's gone through it. And then probably the highlight of his life, he thinks, okay, I was a bit of, I was a battler as a footballer. I'm going to go to St Kilda as director of football. That might be where my future lies. And suddenly he gets one phone call and his life and the life of a club changes like that. That's how close this competition is. Nice. It's wonderful. Hey, let's go to the Ultra Tune Lab now. David King and Jared Healy. Boys, you can analyse this all the way through, but all I know is this. Boyd and Picken kicked the last 3 goals of the game to win this match by 22 points.
You're right though, Ed. Everything you've said, spot on. It's bigger than that. I mean, I'm thinking of names like Scotty West, Brad Johnson, obviously we'll talk to later Smith on, Tony Liberatore, Simon Beasley, Steve Wallace, Peter Foster, Scott Wines. You can go back to those guys that invested so much in this Western Bulldogs Football Club for 20 years, and they've never seen such success. It's come so quickly. I think you have to give credit to Jason McCartney, Brendan McCartney, for what he set up, Simon Dalrymple.
Done a great job with the recruiting.
Full club decision to get Luke, obviously, but the decisions made behind the scenes, I think, have impacted this greatly. From a tactical point of view, Jared, or from a game plan point of view, this is the second best contested possession team that's ever been recorded by Champion Data, so this is no fluke. Luke Beveridge said, I want hard, tough brand of football. On midfielders who can win their own ball, and they found a way today with, we talk about their modes and all that sort of stuff later on, but they are genuinely a tough team, and I think it's been recognised today.
A whole of club performance. The Swans went in with as good a side on field, maybe arguably talent-wise slightly better, but they didn't get an effort out of each and every player, and that's what the Dogs got. They've had a whole of club performance from the president right down to people like Jake Landsberger and Gary Zimmerman, the doctors that have been there a lifetime, and they'll be celebrating long and hard, and so will all the supporters, and justifiably so. I was there inside for the final siren, and it was just one of those great moments in sport in that stadium. It was brilliant.
They're walking past here, Ed. They're pretty happy, the Bulldog supporters, giving a little bit of feedback because Jared tipped Sydney and so did I, so it's coming thick and fast.
I tell you what, boys, if ever you've been proven wrong and had a smile on your face, today was the day. Let's not forget the Sydney Swans either, because they finished on top of the ladder. They've been a magnificent side. They've played beautiful football to hit the front by 1 point when Hewitt kicked that goal at the 12-minute and 13-second mark of the last quarter. You thought, here they come, here they come. They've just got stars all through the place. But as we said, Picken, Johannisson's one that was a point that was nearly a goal. And then, of course, Boyd and for Liam Picken to run in and kick the goal. Jono's cousin, good on you, buddy.
That was amazing. I think I did shed a tear. My wife reckons I'm born without tear ducts, but I think that was the first time I shed a tear. That's for sure. Also, I forgot to mention, credit should go to Leon Cameron as well, who was at the Bulldogs and really pushed to get Picken on the list.
Anyone who's ever had a Western Bulldog scarf around their neck, I said, go doggy. Tonight is your night. Congratulations to the Western Bulldogs, VFL Premiers, AFL Premiers 2016. Welcome back to the MCG, the home of the Western Bulldogs today. It's great stuff, and it was wonderful just listening to Jared and to David King rattling off some of the names of the greats of the past, and I can't help but think of blokes like Ben Bradley, who was the head trainer out of the Bulldogs, and Kevin Punchy Pearce, who was one of their trainers, and he was a great man, and just those wonderful blokes out there, just who've been.
Chris Grant's involved now as well.
Oh well, Chris of course stayed when he offered all the money to go and stayed. He's the footy director.
Well, that's absolutely. Wasn't that a great story as well? Kept their superstar.
And old Dougie Hawkins, of course, dancing Dougie, who I think is doing a sporty in Tasmania today.
Well, he was this morning. He was getting back. I actually did a sporty in Brisbane with Dougie. He was hoarse then.
Was
He'd be a mess now. But again, like Dougie. Like so many other past players, so emotional about the opportunity to get to grand final week and not bitter at all, just so much in behind the club.
And I also say to the supporters who were there in the 70s, when they had great players, but every time they had a beauty, they sold them to keep the club alive. Barry Round, Bernie Quinlan, even Laurie Sandilands ended up at Collingwood. Georgie Bissett, Gary Dempsey, all these guys. Imagine if they all had stayed, what a great team they would have. But they surviving on their knees. And don't underestimate the fact that the AFL finally changed the most ridiculous rule, which kept clubs on their knees, not having 100% of their salary kept when other clubs were getting 110. That has made a huge difference. That's why they got Tom Boyd. They actually finally were able to fill up that salary cap.
And allowed the club to put the infrastructure in place, like facilities, training facilities. I mean, essentially for so long, they were a Division 3 club. And so players were going there and happy to get out at the first chance. But they've got their facilities up. They've got great people in place. Now they've got an opportunity to go to an elite club on the back of a super team and what they've done today.
I had a bloke come up to me in the crowd with a big scarf, a Bulldog scarf, and he said, "There's my card. City of Ballarat, Councillor Des Hudson, the Mayor. He's got 2 games next year with the Premiers playing in Ballarat." He's as happy as you like.
Brilliant.
Let's get over to Gerard Healy and David King, who have dominated football this year in the lab. It's been so much fun and so entertaining and informative, boys. What do you got for us on this grand final review?
Can I jump in here, King?
Go for it,
Because I just found a bloke who's seen both grand final premiers for the Western Bulldogs, and he's enjoyed every second of it today. And just look at some of these Bulldog faces around here. Blokes that have been there today, but very few would have had the double.
Very few would have had the double, Jared. They may go back to back and may give him more joy next year, but Tom Boyd's the talking point. Let's be honest. He is the one. Have a look at him carrying the trophy in there. It's fantastic scenes. There Brad Johnson. Where's the trophy gone? It's over there, Brad, on the left.
Put your earpiece in,
Put
John,
your
so we
earpiece
can
in,
hear you.
John, and we'll have a chat. But when you talk about Tom Boyd, this is a breakout game. Everyone's talking about that. 6 contested marks, as Brownie touched on before. That's the second most he's ever taken, I should say, right through his junior days, into his AFL time. He's only played 37 games. But he had been building, hadn't he? We'd seen him building over the last 3 to 4 weeks. We didn't expect what he delivered today, but he had been building.
And he built through the day too. A couple of touches early and then a couple of important marks, a little bit of work in the middle of the ground. And he needed to do well because Roughhead had come in under the question mark regarding his iron. But when the game was up for the grabs, when it was in the balance, that's when he really did start clunking them. And the Swans had very little answer to him in the air.
Having a look at the way the game was likely to be separated, the Dogs just couldn't get bang for their buck going inside the forward 50 in the first half. But that all changed in it through just sheer weight of numbers in that second half. They got on top of contested footy, but their forward 50 was letting them down. I think Tom Boyd was the one that broke the shackles in there. Stringer got involved. Pickham was fantastic. But if you have a look at the numbers, inside 50s in the last quarter, 22. I mean, it just lived there. It stayed there. I think that goes back to your point at the start of the coverage about Bevo's blockade. It was absolutely fantastic. Ed, there's so much to go through. I think you want to talk to the boys in the rooms.
I can't wait to get down there, boys. I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to go down to Grandma Roughhead's house tonight and get her DNA. Because she's Grandma for the last... She got the 4 in a row. She got the Jared, of course, and Jordan. Just fantastic.
They always have the Hawthorn boys have a barbecue at Jared Roughhead's house on the Sunday after the premiership win. Maybe this year it's at Jordan's place.
I'll tell you
maybe at Nana's place.
What about Jordan? And whoever his eye doctor was this week, well done. I thought he was sensational that first half. He was great. Boys, let's go to the break. Let's some pictures back in the rooms because this is a day for the ages. The day when the battlers from the West became the superstars of footy. Come on, give us a bit on the way out the door. Come on. Welcome back to Legends of the Western Suburbs now. Brad Johnson and Peter Gordon, the president of the Western Bulldogs. Winners today by 22 points. Wonderful stuff. Welcome back to the MCG. Let's have a look at a recap of the grand final. Let's start with the first quarter. And as always, the national anthem. The Bull Sisters were just magnificent today. And a wonderful warm-up, and away we go. First quarter, Buddy Franklin injured his ankle. Struggled in the first half, had it obviously restrapped and probably jabbed at half-time, and then he was back as a potent force. Unbelievable mark taken by Kieran Jack. Showing the way as always.
Yeah, gutsy.
Luke Parker got the first goal of the game. This one was just across the face of goals for a behind. But Luke Parker, who threatened early on to be the player of the game. Again, it was Jack who got it in over the top of Tom Boyd. At that stage, you wondered, Tom Boyd thought maybe it might not be my day. However, the Western Bulldogs, Cordy, good tackle, got hold of Callum Mills and took the shot and put it through. There's been a few famous goals in grand finals kicked from that pocket, and that one got them going. And then, look at this one. Brave play from Liberatore across. Eastonwood did well. Hunter with a kick in and going back. And Tory Dixon, who ended up playing a great game today. And he was able to kick 3 goals. 1 in the first, 1 in the second, 1 in the third. Dermot Brereton, second quarter highlights.
Well, big Tommy Boyd played a game of his career today, took 11 marks. This being one of them, he ran into the forward pocket to get this on the knees and was able to run around onto the left foot, lay it across the body and slot one through for the Dogs and keep them just ahead. Nick Smith has only kicked 9 goals in his career, but got on the end of this and brought it into double figures. Timely goal for the Swans when they were swimming against the tide. But then you mentioned him before, Tory Dixon, a snap goal. He gets front and centre. Big Reggie drops it, and as you say, this is the second of his 3. So Tory Dixon puts that one through. Liam Picken, what about this? What a game. 25 possessions. He gets this one back and snaps through for his first. Over the top. What a game of football for Liam Picken. And then Tom Mitchell at the other end enters the fray. His first goal out of 2 for the afternoon, 26 possessions, 13 tackles Tommy laid today, Tommy Mitchell, and he gets this one from downtown, and the Swans are back and alive at that stage. Then we had the unusual, one of the more unusual things we've seen in grand finals. Gary Rowan thought it was pay to mark. Lance thought it was too. High five. It's play on, boys. It's play on. Get going. And he still slots it through for the Swans. And then Josh Kennedy, he gets on the end of this one. He had some sort of game. By half-time, he had 2 goals and 20 possessions and was the best player on the ground and put the Swannies back in front. And then Tom Mitchell again works his way through traffic, kicks one out of the grass, and at half-time it is the Swannies by 2 points.
That's right. We get to the tense third quarter. We'll just see Hamling drives the ball long and deep in there, but Dixon comes across there for his 3rd goal. A snap over the shoulder, and boy, did they kick a lot of snap goals in this game, especially in that first half. And we just see Buddy's dribble miss here. Now, he made a fair go of it. Tommy Papley maybe could have protected that ball, blocked Joe Anderson out of it, but it went through for a point. That was a pretty critical time. But we just see here now the Kennedy mark by Buddy, another good kick. Was given a 50-metre penalty there by McLean. I'm not sure what else McLean could have done because he had to contest the ball. I thought it was a bad decision, but nonetheless, Kennedy went forward and kicked the goal from the goal square. Then we see Clay Smith, another dubious free kick there. Not a hell of a lot in it. Bit of mayo on it, maybe got him a little bit on the head, but this is a critical kick on the left foot. Clay Smith's had a fantastic final series. That gave him a 4-point lead at the 19-minute mark.
And at 3/4 time, 8 points to the Dogs. They're starting to get excited, and the Swans are in trouble. Hanbury goes down, and this slide tackle rule has gone out the door. Hanbury was basically, his day was over. 22 disposals, didn't have much of an impact. And Liam Picken gets involved again, the chase down on Rampy. Now the Dogs are starting to get excited. Great tackle on one of the best players for the Sydney Swans. And Lance Franklin needed to step up, had an ankle injury in the first quarter and put 10 yards on his opponent here. And just when the big forward had to stand up, he's flushed one from 48 metres. And the Swans just thought maybe they're a sneaky chance. So quick answer, forward 50 stoppage. They've been looking for this man to snap one. Jakey Stringer around the body, snaps a beautiful goal. And then here we go again. Liam Picken has had a massive day and gets involved. There's great tackling we see week in, week out from the Western Bulldogs. And Picken, crumbing goal on the right.
Yes.
Slots through his second, 7 points up the Dogs. Our Norm Smith medalist, Johannesson, flush one from 50, and they're starting to get excited. He's at 33 and a massive day. And then, what's happened here? Review. I'll tell you, Luke Darcy and Brad Johnson will feel sick in the guts then. And once again, great tackling pressure. Here we go. Morris on Bud. Turnover. Tommy Boyd from 60. And flushes one through, and the Dogs are home. And have a look at the big fella. Continue on. Daniel, a pretty quiet day. Jakey Stringer takes a bounce, gets it in towards our favourite.
Yeah,
Liam Picken.
Yes.
21 points up at that stage. And there it is, 22 points to the Western Bulldogs, the first time since 1954. 62 years in the wilderness. And she's all over her flag for the Western Bulldogs. What a great day.
Well, the old song used to be Sons of the Scray, and they used to sing it at Remember 54. They changed the words. Well, they'll never forget 2016, that's for sure. And what a wonderful moment. And for Luke Beveridge to present his injured captain, Bob Murphy, with his Jock McCall medal. One of the great moments of what has been a magnificent month, a magnificent year for this team, who won 13-11-89 to 10-7-67 by 22 points. The Western Bulldogs are the premiers of the AFL. Johannesson with 33 disposals, the Norm Smith medalist. Dermot Brereton, one of the great pressure players, a man who understands what it takes to win on the big day. Let's go through the pressure that was applied by this Western Bulldogs team today.
Oh, they were extreme, weren't they? We have a look at it. Started up in the first quarter, and we were all, including self-included, we were all waiting for this blast, this absolute ferocious Swan start. You know what? We got it, but the Doggies were up for it, and they matched it. They were up for the pressure. They gave as good as they got, and they were able to harass and stop the movement of Sydney Swans in that first quarter. And you have a look at some of these tackling efforts. I just felt at half-time when we sat back here, I thought, they're so good, they're so fit, and they get so many players around the ball. I was pretty confident they were going to carry on after half-time. If they were within 2 goals, I thought they had the game.
Well, was that first quarter, the Sydney Swans had averaged 45 points over the last couple of weeks. 8 points was their lowest first quarter for the whole year. Great effort.
Let me jump in, because we're dropping in and out. The signals are going berserk here. Right. The crowd's going mad. And Brad Johnson's in the Bulldogs room. Jono, congratulations, mate. Well done, pal. They're going mad out here.
We are absolutely pumped down here, boys. This is ridiculous in terms of what has just gone on. The boys holding that premiership cup up. 654, you bloody river!
Well, isn't our game just the best game in the world? We had Bob Murphy go down, the cruelest game in the world, but this feeling in the rooms right now, it can't get any better, Jono.
Oh, this is seriously, we've got all the players getting around, all their family, obviously all the past players that absolutely love this football club. Everyone's here and it's absolutely awesome in here. So the words are hard to describe what is the scenes in here.
Well, probably the emotions of the past players is probably the thing that's touched me the most. You got Simon Beasley, you got Liberatores in here, very, very emotional. It just means so much to so many people what this young group has done for the Western Bulldogs. It's outstanding, it's fantastic.
This is unbelievable. Look out tonight, Western Suburbs, Barclay Street, you won't be able to move. Oh, boys, seriously, it is unbelievable in here. Words can't describe how we're really feeling.
Don't need any words, boys. We're just looking at your beaming faces. And I think they're pretty happy out here as well, aren't they, guys? There you go. Oh,
well done,
what
Jono.
Great stuff. Hey, what about it's the Dam Burster, Cleveland Cavaliers, Leicester City, Western Bulldogs. Yes. Who won the premiership?
So, what do you reckon, Ed? You're tipping Cronulla tomorrow, are you?
All right, guys, let's go back to Jono now. He's got an interview with Josh Dunkley. How about that? No, we'll go to that in a moment.
How good is this, brother?
Mate, I can't explain this. This is unbelievable.
Oh, mate, give us a look. Yeah. That is absolutely sensational.
Thanks, mate.
How do you feel? How is that getting caught up there on stage, mate? How's it feel?
I feel like I'm in a dream, to be honest.
Well, hang on. No, mate, it's real. It's real.
It's unbelievable, mate. I can't explain it. Yeah, it was a tough day out there. Yeah. Very contested, but yeah, we got the job done. It's unbelievable, mate.
Don't worry about it. You enjoy this, brother.
Thanks, mate. Love you.
One of the ones that got away, Josh Dunkley, of course, his father had to go to court to play in the grand final back in 1996 against North Melbourne.
He's a good player.
He's a good player. Now, I'm going to handball joy everywhere here. We're going to run a package here. Jonathan Brown, tell us all about your cousin Liam Pickett.
Unbelievable. Have a look at that lady bouncing along the wing there. Not the greatest kick, taking after his old man there, Billy Pickett, but of course, what about this work? This snap over the shoulder. I've never heard noise like this at the ground when he kicked that goal. That's when the Bulldogs knew they were a chance. And obviously this was the one that was late. It was very exciting. About this stage, Ed, I started crying. I did start crying. I admit it. I'm a grown man, but there was a tear coming out my eye.
What would Billy be like right now? I mean, Billy almost got to the
Five
joyous
times
land,
yeah.
But he was an amazing player. What would he be feeling for his son now?
He's so proud. I know they've travelled around Australia this final series following his progress, and he's very supportive. He's pretty quiet now, Billy boy, unless you can get a few beers in him. We get a few beers into him, he always opens up and tells a few jokes, but he'll be holding court tonight at the Bulldogs function, I would have thought.
To Billy and Julie Pickett, congratulations.
Yeah.
Your boy
Well done,
did well.
Jules.
And he wears the 42 because his childhood favourite was the late, great Darren Mullane. He's a Collingwood man,
right.
but he's a Bulldog now. All right, handball number 2 goes to Alistair Lynch because this bloke played an Alistair Lynch-style game, the big forward, Tommy Boyd.
Oh, how good was this? And we've seen Tommy Boyd grow over the course of the final series. And the fact that he snapped that one, talk about big moments, he had to snap that one around on his left foot, did it beautifully. 6 contested grabs is exactly what he needed to do. A lot of it was up in the ruck. He had to certainly fill in there. I think that's probably his go. And this takes a lot of pressure off him. He stood up on the big stage. What we see so often with 6'6", 6'7" forwards, it takes a bit of time. He's a number 1 draft pick. He's made the move down there. A lot of pressure on his shoulders. And I know what the dog supporters think of Tom Boyd. He goes all right, doesn't he? Absolutely. He goes real well.
Hey, boys, the number 6 jumper at the Western Bulldogs. Our man Brad Johnson, 364 record games for the Doggies, and in 1954 the captain coach was Charlie Sutton. Today it was worn by Luke Dalhouse. He's with the bloke who handed to him, Brad Johnson.
Well, Lukey Dalhouse, the number 6, has done it again. Charlie Sutton in 54, and you in 2016.
Mate, absolutely right. So I'd love to give you it, mate, but I've got to hold on. Sorry, but
hang on to that, Lukey.
Blokes like you, you've been at the club so long and done so much for it, deserve everything. And mate, I'm just so happy I can do it for the fans and past players and everyone who's watching, because this club deserves everything it gets.
What about your teammates? What they delivered, especially in that second half today, was absolutely brilliant.
Every 22 of us contributed, mate, and we were pretty sloppy in the first half. But Bevo said to us, it's going to take everyone to stand up, and I think we did. Everyone contributed, and I think we were absolutely amazing that last half. And see Tommy Boyd and blokes like that finish with some goals, mate. Jesus, good time to celebrate. Oh, it's unbelievable.
What about, take us through the emotion then of getting up and accepting the Premiership Cup?
Mate, ridiculous. I was saying it a couple, but it doesn't feel real. I mean, you see it on TV for so many years, and for the past 5 years, you just wish it was you. And when it comes, it's the best feeling in the world, but it hasn't sunk in yet. I don't think it will for a couple of days, but can't wait to crack a couple of beers with the boys and wear this all night.
As you should, leave the jumper on as well. What about the class of your coach as well, with what he did with Bob Murphy?
Mate, that was absolutely amazing, and I think if he didn't do it, someone else would have done it, because Bobby deserves it, mate. As you know, played with him, and he's been amazing at the club. And obviously, we'd love to have him out there, but mate, he deserves everything that comes his way, Bobby, and I can't wait to play with him next year.
Well, Luke, you know how much I love you, mate, and I just want to say congratulations one more time. You're a superstar.
Love
mate.
you, Johnny.
Well done.
Beautiful stuff, the 2 great number 6. Now, guys, once upon a time there used to be a sea shanty, a song called Sons of the Sea, I think it was. But tonight it's got a new name and it's being belted out loud and strong. 1, 2, 3.
I'm not sure they got the coordination of their footy team, but they're pretty happy, that's for sure.
I think Molly Meldrum used to say, do yourself a favour. Go, do yourself a favour. Let's go to the boys in the lab. Kingy!
Oh, it's out of control, Ed. It's out of control. It's fantastic. The fans are loving it, too. But let's go to the actual game and work out why the Western Bulldogs were so strong for so long. And I think you go to the brand of football. You know, they play that Brevo blockade, as you called it, lock it in their forward half. And the Swans just couldn't get the ball out of defensive 50 all day, could they?
No, they couldn't. Once they got the territory game going, they got it in there, they locked it in there, they had massive numbers, time in forward half, and the Sydney Swans just couldn't connect the backs to the forwards. Their forward line numbers are horrible, Sydney, but a lot of it is to do with this forward press, the Beveridge blockade. And they have just locked it in there, and their pressure just allowed the Bulldogs to have repeat entries, repeat cracks at goal, and prevented the Swans, despite their mids going okay and their numbers looking okay, that sort of pressure, that constant harassing and tackling and dragging them down, prevented the Swans from having any fast ball in there. So McGlynn didn't get any ball on the ground, Papley didn't get any ball on the ground, and they just continually forced it back to that top of the square.
It's more about territory, locking the ball in your forward half. The Swans had 50 opportunities, 49 opportunities to be exact, out of their defensive half. They did not score once, did not score 1 point. They'd averaged 42 points out of their defensive half across the course of the season. Today they got 15. That's a 4-goal reduction, 4.5-goal reduction. And any time you can do that, you're in the van. Most opposition scouts tell you if you can take 2 to 3 goals off the opponent, take away their strength area, then you can beat them week on week, and that's what happened today.
And it wasn't as if the Swans didn't have good defenders. Grundy had a pretty good game. Nick Smith was a pretty good player. Mills had some pretty good moments floating in, but gee, that was like holding back the tide, and the Beveridge blockade has got him a flag.
Well, have a look at that, because initially in that first half, that was the only problem for the Dogs. Every time they went forward, they allowed the Sydney Swans defenders to drop off, and it was good play from Rampy. Mills was a part of that as well. Grundy was superb in the first half. But they worked it out. They worked it out as deep as the game. The deeper the game got, the better they got. They didn't just gift the ball back. They didn't allow any easy counter-attack at all to the Sydney Swans.
No, you can see them going wide there, the Bulldogs, and the Swans kept on picking it off. Mills is in really good form early. I thought Smith was as well. I know his man Dixon got a couple of goals, but his performance was excellent as well. This bloke was on fire. He dropped one-hander that cost him a goal late in that second term, but gee, one of the Swans' very best was Heath Grundy. And it wasn't until they started finding a few shorter options and started getting the ball in there with hands that really did break down that Sydney Swans defence.
It was a tough game, though. It was tough from minute one. They weren't gifted anything, the Western Bulldogs, today. They've earned this, absolutely no doubt. You can just see how physical they wanted to be early. Easton Wood was up for the challenge. He knew what was coming, and so too did Josh Dunkley. He knew that he was going to wear a pretty tough tackle there, and he took it all, ball and all.
Well, if you're playing the Sydney Swans, you know you're going to be challenged to win the ball at all costs, and if you've got it, you're going to be dragged down. But in the end, I think that they out-Sydney. Their tackle pressure has been brilliant all year, the Western Bulldogs, and finally I think they wore down the Sydney Swans mids.
101 tackles to 91. It was a brutal game. Looking at the midfield numbers, and it's hard to say that the Sydney midfield didn't perform today. They were fantastic, but when you look at contested possessions, they were mauled, beaten by 24. Their worst result for about 18 months.
And it was a huge turnaround, wasn't it? Because going into half-time, it looked as if the bigs for the Swans, the big-bodied mids, were going to control the game.
Absolutely correct. But in the second half, the Western Bulldogs took control of clearances. It was 20-11 in the second half, plus 25 contested possessions in a half of football. And I don't think we've seen any outfit put it to the Swans like that. That's Luke's brand. He wants ball winners. He wants ball hunters. They hunt in packs. They did it today.
Well, he got everything he demanded from the first day he walked in there. It's taken 2 long years, David, but finally he's got himself a flag with the Beveridge brand of footy. And I think it's going to probably set a standard. I don't think the Swans handballed enough today. There was a lot of smothers from Swans players inside, and they're going to have to exit these stoppages by hand as much as they are with foot.
Yeah, you have a look at this, Jerry, because this is some special moments here early in the game. You see the Swans out and gone. They're away. They're looking to move the ball pretty quick, and they are. They're gone. But this mark here, it epitomises what the Swans are about. It epitomised the game. Exactly what we were going to get for 4 quarters was just a 100% pure endeavour to win the ball.
You couldn't have asked if you were John Longmire for a better moment to test everybody and to show what the Swans meant. Kieran Jack was up for the moment, didn't go back and kick the goal, but from there on, I think everybody at the ground said, gee, have a look at this. The Swans have set the standard. They weren't, unfortunately, able to go on with it, and the Bulldogs took up the challenge.
I thought tactically what they did around the stoppages was brilliant.
Yep.
Marcus Bontempelli went third man up probably 15 times today, and often they gave them good opportunities to score at goal. You can see McRae, quick handball out to Stringer. They were ready for it. They were aware. Fantastic planning and great execution.
In many ways, I think that's what hurt the Sydney Swans. It was those loose balls around the goals from the congestion. There was, I think, Tory Dixon got one in the second quarter. There was that one that was such a pivotal goal in that last quarter. And when they have a look at it, I think they'll want to know why we weren't a little bit tighter around that football deep and close to goal.
We talk a lot, Ed, about our identity and bringing a brand of football, and the Western Bulldogs, well, they did that in the second half today.
They certainly did, boys, and I love the sign that was up behind you guys. You had your back to it. Had Sede Nullis, which is the Latin motto of the Western Bulldogs. Yield to no one. It's a day of firsts here today. The first time we've had a Latin scholar come with the Bulldogs sign. That was magnificent. Hey, guys, speaking of day of firsts, I don't know if we'll ever get Brad Johnson out of the rooms. He's so excited down there, and he's speaking now to one of the heroes of the day for the Bulldogs, Liam Picken.
You are an absolute superstar.
Oh, no, that was amazing. The amount of feeling you get from that. This group is very special, and to put it together, win 4 games, coming 7th is just amazing.
Putting it together, you put it together, mate. 3 massive finals. Yeah. And what about your first one today? Just a lazy snap from the boundary line.
I know, that was enjoyable. So I still can't believe what's just happened. It's just amazing.
It really is, Pico. Show us, hold that premiership medallion up, mate, because that is absolutely sensational. How does that feel holding that up, mate?
Sort of just elation and relief, you know. We knew we had a special group, but to finally get it, you sort of just can't believe it. What's just happened, sort of a bit of a blur now, so I'm going to try to soak it all in, enjoy it with all my teammates.
Well, party on, mate. The next couple of days going to be huge out west.
You better come and party with us, Jono.
I may float around. Well done, mate.
Thanks, Jono.
I tell you what, there might have been 101 tackles. There's 101 hugs coming from Brad Johnson down there.
Auntie Julie was in the background.
You saw Liam's mum down there?
Yeah, Jules was there. Unbelievable job. Jules had to virtually live in Melbourne when the twins were going through their battles in hospital to help out. It's an amazing story. It truly is. I know he's my cousin. I don't want to sound biased.
No, give us an insight. Tell us about your cousin.
Tell you, this kid is as tough as nails. I wrote an article in today's
paper.
It was Christmas Day, when we would always try and knock the young blokes' heads off. We'd have the taped up tennis ball. The older cousins would pick on the little cousins. And they'd always back away to square leg, except for Liam Picken. Liam, he'd sit there and he'd wear it. And, you know, it was like he was coming back from the battlefields. He was all bruised and battered, but he was a tough kid.
He's been made to fight, hasn't he?
He's been made to fight his whole life. He's gone through university, worked for the Department of Defence, at the same time trying to make a career. Missed out at Collingwood, went back, did his time at Williamstown, started on the bench in the reserves for Williamstown. 4 years later was able to win a best and fairest at Williamstown. Then on the rookie list of the Bulldogs because Leon Cameron really wanted him there. He fought for him, and then a year after was playing for the Bulldogs. He just keeps going from strength to strength. And a big game player. His only other grand final, he was 15 years old for the Hamilton Magpies and kicked 4 or 5 goals, I think, as a 15-year-old.
Oh, well, can we get highlights of that? I wouldn't mind seeing the Magnus one today. Hey, well done, mate. That's beautiful. It's just great. It's these stories that make this game so great. You know what I love about Australian rules football is that the heroes do grow up on the corner down the street. They did play for the Hamilton Magpies. They played for the Frankston Bombers. They came from Tasmania. They came from the Western District. It's just wonderful stuff. And we grow up loving these blokes. And today, there's a whole lot of people that showed an amazing piece of history and what it's like to be a champion on and off the ground. And Luke Beveridge gave us all a lesson today in humility and class and sophistication. Bob Murphy and Easton Wood, 3 wonderful leaders. That's what leadership's all about. There they are, Tony Liberatore. Look at Bob Murphy in the background there. Easton Wood, the club captain on the day. Well, the team captain, there's the club captain. And some of the old doggies who thought this day would never, ever come. and some of the young champions you just believe this is what happens when you run out to play. Lin Jong, who broke his collarbone, who played in a premiership in the VFL last week, and in a wonderful moment. And look at the modesty there of Luke Beveridge, not pushing himself forward. Even there is just wonderful. And Bob Murphy feels absolutely part of this win. It's such a wonderful thing. And Eastonwood with a photo that'll hang around the Western Suburbs pubs for another 62 years. And there's the mighty MCG, this theatre of dreams. And Sydney, 10-7-67, who've been a wonderful club over the last 20 years of finals experience. And the Western Bulldogs, 13-11-89, winners of the 2016 Toyota AFL Premiership by 22 points. They are the kings of the world, no doubt about it. Jake Stringer, he was always going to bring something to the table. We all hoped for that, certainly for sure, for the Western Bulldogs. Would it come? Would it come? It took a while, but when it did, it was a beauty. And Jake Stringer's now with our own Brett Johnson.
Mate, you just said you're starstruck for the Hensworth boys behind you. Oh, they're starstruck with you, mate. You're a premiership player.
Unbelievable. Still can't believe I met him. I'm stoked.
Don't worry about that, mate. What was it like grabbing that premiership cup and holding it aloft?
Oh, mate, it took me about 20 minutes to get my hands on it, but mate, once I got the mitts on it, whew.
What about all the supporters too, mate? Just so many people here today. 99,981. How good is that?
There's another 2.5 million in the Western Suburbs, mate, that were right behind us, and mate, it was unreal, the support that we had all week, all through the final series. They always believed in us, and you know, they waited a long time for this one, but I'm so glad we delivered for them.
Well, mate, you've got a huge support network around you as well, your family and everything, mate, so congratulations.
Thanks, mate. Little Harlow's, she wants a bit of the camera time as well, which is good to see.
That's awesome.
So, no, mate, it's amazing. We're going to lap this one up with the family.
Embrace and enjoy, mate.
Thanks, guys.
Even the babies are crying down in the rooms there. They're all happy. Everyone's happy. Hey, hello, mate. You all happy over there, are you? There he is. They're woof, woof, woofing over there, aren't they? What about over here?
Oh, they're pretty pumped. But, I mean, how good is this moment? I mean, the final time, then you go into the rooms, you get to spend some time with your family and close friends for an hour or two. Then you probably don't see them for the next 2 days.
That's
when
it.
you're out celebrating with the fans and everything like that. But this is a special time.
And, of course, now with the new look AFL celebration on the ground, the players can stay in the rooms rather than having to go to a function somewhere else. So they'll be presented on the MCG a little bit later tonight. Let's go to David King now to put a ruler over the players and the Fox Sports scores. Good on you, Kingy.
We want to go through them, Ed. The boys have been watching them all day and judging them, so I'll throw back to the talent that is actually doing those players. And we'll start with Tory Dixon. And Tory had 11 disposals. He kicked 3 goals. He had 5 score involvements. Lynchy, you watched his game. What'd you give him?
I gave him a 7 out of 10. I just thought he played an important role. Probably didn't have the impact that he did last week. Just thought very important in the end of the day.
Tom Boyd had 14 disposals, 6 contested marks, 3 goals. He was huge. What'd you give him?
It was easy. I gave him 9 out of 10. I just think he was so important throughout the final series and a very important player today, 9.
Clay Smith wasn't the same Clay Smith we'd seen the previous few weeks, but 13 disposals and a goal. He was still important?
Well, he was still important, and I think the fact that I gave him 6 out of 10 because there was 11 tackles there, and I think that really typifies the Western Bulldogs. If you're not doing something with the ball, helping your teammates get it back.
Zane Cordy had 11 touches and a goal.
Yeah, one of the quieter players for the Bulldogs. Gave him a bit harsh. Let's change that to a 5.
Go, mate.
Give him a 5. He's
Don't
a premiership player.
Hey,
I'm happy to buckle.
He kicked one from the boundary line to get him going.
That was a big kick too.
3 to 5.
He cleaned one across the face too. I'd go with your original feeling.
Hey.
I really like the feedback you're getting from the public here, so I'd like them to get involved. Jake Stringer had 12 touches, and he did kick a big goal at an important time.
He did. He certainly did that, and I think that snap goal was really important. So I gave him a 5 out of 10. Didn't have an impact for a majority of the day, but a really important goal late.
I'll help you win the people back. I'll help you win the fans back, Lynchy. Liam Picken, 25 touches. He was outstanding. Kicked 3 goals.
Hey! I think it speaks for himself. I think Liam Picken would have been very deep in the voting for the Norm Smith medal. 9 out of 10.
Shane Biggs, he had the 15 disposals. Brownie, you watched his game closely?
Yeah, I thought he was pretty solid all day, King. He worked obviously in defence. He helped set up. He didn't get sucked into the stoppages. I thought he did a really good job, 7 out of 10.
Dale Morris was fantastic today. He's the heart and soul of this team. 15 touches. He won the ball back for the Dogs 10 times. How'd you see his game?
Yeah, he was fantastic, wasn't he? Really hard all day, 8 out of 10. Really liked his presence in the air as well. He's always able to get over, support the contest, but was also really desperate at ground level. He's one of the hardest players I ever played on, Dale Morris, and he's hugely respected.
Was amazing, Brownie, wasn't it?
Yeah. Amazing chase to get to Buddy. That was a critical time in the game.
Easton Wood had the 13 disposals as captain. You see him instructing out there all day. What'd you make of his performance?
I did see him instructing all day. He directs, he sets up. It was a 6 out of 10 performance, but a lot of his work doesn't show up in the stat sheet. He was always there, and I thought at the end of the day, he's a premiership captain now, and I thought to be able to keep a high standard of play throughout the season, carrying the extra load of being captain was fantastic.
The Norm Smith medalist was important when they needed some run, 33 disposals, over 800 metres gained.
Yeah, he started to use the ball better in the second half as well. You win the Norm Smith medal, you get 10 out of 10, don't you?
He's very popular when he gets big scores, Brownie.
It was pretty easy, that one.
What about Joel Hamling?
I liked Hamling's game. I really liked the fact that he played on Buddy for reasonable chunks of the game, and he was happy to play aggressively, play out in front, take the game on. 7 out of 10, tremendous job. He wasn't playing against Sydney earlier in the season, about round 15 I think it was, so he came in and I thought he did a pretty good job.
Matty Boyd was fantastic. He was in the All-Australian form we've seen all year, Brownie, across half-back today, 27 disposals, 9 intercepts.
I thought Matty Boyd was outstanding today. Giving him the 8 out of 10 was probably stiff. Maybe could have given him a 9 out of 10. 27, picked up all day. He just rebounds really well. We know he was the All-Australian, as they say, but I thought he kept his feet really well, and he was one of the guys who was able to keep that ball moving, keep the momentum off half-back, which we know is such a strength of the Bulldogs, and we know Luke Beveridge would have implored his men to keep running off half-back, don't tighten up, and Boyd was critical to that element of the game.
The Western Bulldogs midfield numbers probably don't look as good as the Swans, Derm, but Marcus Pontepelli had 22 disposals, 6 clearances.
Oh, once again, his ability to get the ball into space, into a better position for his team was wonderful. Still a slight bit under his absolute very best, which we've seen in the second half in these finals games. So I graded him a 7, but I thought he was exceptional on the day.
Huge ranking points, Jared.
Massive rankings points, 141. Was pretty important in the contested department, particularly those hit-outs to advantage.
Luke Dalhouse was important today, 23 disposals, Derm.
Yeah, another real worker for the Doggies again, 23 possessions, as you said. 8 tackles, so his inside work was once again very, very good. Once again, solid game for him. I'm a hard marker, I might add. 7 out of 10 for him also.
You need to win the crowd back. You're not reading the room very well here, Derm.
Sorry if I'm telling the truth.
Tom Liberatore, 8 clearances. He was fantastic.
Oh, I love Tommy's game. We always love the work he does on the inside as well. Once again, solid performance, 7 out of 10 for him.
Well, David, you gave the votes for the rest of the Bulldogs, so let me work through. Jack McRae had 111 champion data rankings points.
33 touches. I thought he was fantastic, and his ball use in the forward half was clever at times.
You gave him a 9.
Did I? Yes, I gave him a 9, Jared. Don't stop dobbing me in for this. You've had a role to play in these, haven't you?
Jordan Roughhead, David, 80 rankings points. He came in with an amazing cloud over him, and he did well just to compete.
Look, they had a great battle. The ruck duel was pivotal, I thought, today. I thought when Naismith was on top, they looked likely to score the Swans, but Roughhead just toiled away and did what he was asked.
Fletcher Roberts just had to do a job today. How do you think he went?
He had 5 disposals. I've only given him 5 out of 10, but his role was to make sure that Buddy didn't catch fire, and he was part of that back 6 that performed so well today.
Simple process for him. 5 touches, 5 points. If he had got 10, he would have been BOG. Josh Dunkley spoke to Jono half an hour ago. An amazing player last week. Wasn't at his finest today, but he's now a premiership player.
15 touches in a grand final. He'll get better. He's had a fantastic season. Wasn't his best day, but he was hardly disgraced.
And Toby McLean, 65 rankings points. You gave him a 6.
He's really clever, this kid, isn't he? Good. I think that his ability to shrug tackles and make them into an illegal tackle will give him enormous opportunities in the future. He kicked a big goal today, and he frustrated the Swans no end with that tactic.
I gave Caleb Daniel a 3. I had a small a small investment on him for the Norm Smith medal.
They've turned on you, Jared.
And it didn't have his finest game, so he's come up with a 3.
The crowd are just working out you're talking through your pocket more often than not. Lockie Hunter, he's had a fantastic season. Now, Lockie today didn't have his best game. He had 19 disposals. He kicked a point. He only had 2 clearances. He's been better than that through the course of the year.
He got a 5 from you, David, but overall he was another amazing player right throughout the season for the Western Bulldogs.
Jared made one blue today, Ed. He just claimed responsibility for giving Caleb Daniel 3 out of 10. Rather unpopular.
Well, congratulations, guys. It's good to see all of you auditioning for a job at the Australian Tax Office. Well done. Go easy, mate. No one gets a fail when you win the flag, do you? Seriously?
It's stiff. It's 3.
I didn't fail anyone. Those two over there did.
Nah,
The
good on
hanging
you.
judges out there.
Yes.
Hey, boys, many moons ago, I'm getting old now, but the Western Bulldogs sent in 2 young boys one day in their first year to talk up over the summer. They come onto my radio program, and they sent in these 2 guys. One was a big smiling young kid from the western suburbs by the name of Brad Johnson, and he brought his mate from Kingsville, and they became best mates, and his name was Rowan Smith.
Oh,
Let's go down to 2 great Bulldogs mates who are together in the room as a premiership couple.
Oh, well, Smitty, mate, this is an absolute dream come true. You're a lifelong supporter, mate. You're the heart and soul of this footy club. What does it mean to you?
Oh, mate, Beach. Oh, mate, exactly the same as what it means to you. But look, I'm a little bit speechless, to be honest. This group of kids, with a few veterans thrown in there, have just been amazing, really. Growing up in the in the western suburbs in Yarraville, barracking for the footy club all my life, and my whole family barracked for the Bulldogs, and to go back a long time to be zoned to play for the club, which is going back a long time, it just meant the world to me. And we didn't get there. We didn't get there ultimately to win a premiership, but to be involved in the club as a coach is just as satisfying. It really is, because you spend so much time with these kids trying to develop their game and help them improve and get them the ultimate success. And we succeeded, and it's just I really can't describe the feeling that I'm feeling right now.
Well, mate, take us into the coach's box then, right at the end of the game when that final siren sounded, because we've seen so much emotion throughout the year from all your coaches. You ride every bump, kick, mark and handball that these players go through. That final siren went. What was it like?
Well, mate, to be totally honest, there was 2 minutes to go in the game, and we're 20. Look, I didn't even know what the margin was. We're 20 odd points up, I think, and Bevo goes, "Hey boys, we're going down, and we're going to enjoy it." And I remember running down the stairs, and I'm just in pure elation, and the euphoria that succumbs to your body is, it's just an amazing feeling. And I got out on the ground, and the support staff were there. Matty Boyd was actually, we just took him off the ground because he was cooked. Yeah. And I said to Boydie, I said, "Mate, we've done it. He's like, no, not yet. No." And I'm like, "Mate, just relax and enjoy this last minute and a half." And he actually, the look on his face, he couldn't believe that we'd actually won the premiership. And then in the end, I started hugging players, and everyone's jumping on you, and to look in the crowd to see the supporters standing, cheering. It was an unbelievable feeling. The start of the game today, you go out and you take warm up. Yeah. It is the loudest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Well, mate, there were 99,981 here today to see the Western Bulldogs win their first premiership since 1954. Mate, congratulations.
Thanks, Beach.
And enjoy every single moment over the next few days.
Yeah, it's been amazing, really, and you're just as big a part of this as anybody. And it's great to see past players in here, and we all ride emotions, and the way the footy club has forged ahead. It's just been brilliant, mate, and you're just a bigger part of this as anyone, mate. So
you're a superstar, mate.
Thanks,
you know how much I love you, and congratulations.
That's just beautiful, isn't it? 2 mates, friendships forged in finals footballs along the way. Didn't quite get there as players, but they are a great part of it. And you know what? that's what it's all about, the friendships in football that have been brought together. We talk about the professionalism of the game. Of course it's there, but it is all about the emotion and the fun of footy that keeps us all coming back, and why now women's football is going to be such a big part, and this game just gets bigger and bigger and better and better, and it's why it's the best game in the world. It's just fantastic.
We took those two boys away to Ireland, Ed, in 2000. On the Australia v Ireland. They were inseparable. When you say they're best mates, if you called one to a meeting, the other came with him. You just could not separate the two.
At one stage, they actually seriously discussed putting a tunnel between their houses. The families they holiday together. They're unbelievable. And it was lovely to see my old mate David Smorgan, who did such a wonderful job at the Bulldogs.
What a great guy.
In the rooms. And as I said earlier, the old days, the Bulldogs were a team that always self-destructed. You'd always get a story from infighting or leaking. Not anymore. They're a club that's galvanised together through the hardships, through the steel that has been tempered by the fierce heat of adversity. And tonight, they stand on top of the mountain. They're the premiership team of 2016. The Western Bulldogs have defeated the Sydney Swans by 22 points.
Grand final day on Fox. It's the Swans and the Dogs.
Yes, as the sun sets in the west, it might have just risen with a new power in football. The Western Bulldogs triumphant for the first time since 1954 with great names like Charlie Sutton and Jack Collins, and of course the famous E.J. Whitten. And today, a whole new brand. Stick it up him indeed, madam. There you go. And just congratulations to all those boys who played today and everyone who played in the Bulldogs team this year. It has been a team effort, no doubt about that. And the man who has personified that team effort is the coach, Luke Beveridge. 2 years as a coach, twice has been named the AFL Coaches Association Coach of the Year. He was embarrassed a bit last year for getting his team into the finals. No embarrassment this year. He certainly is the Coach of the Year.
This is a dream come true. This is one of those big days in life, and one of the days in life that most of us will never forget. One of the happiest days of our lives for all Bulldog fans. And so what does it feel like? It feels bloody fantastic.
It was a tough, I mentioned before, it was almost like an equine training feat to get Jack McRae and Tommy Liberatore ready for that first final. And obviously Ruffy and Easton were under a bit of a cloud, and Jake came back from the VFL. The boys have spoken in the public domain about no ceilings and right the next chapter, and we literally have just explored, haven't we, Jay? And so I think as we went on, as we won a final, and we beat great opposition. The boys talk about belief as well. That obviously continues to blossom, and it just snowballs out of control in the end. And coming in today, that was there. The game seemed to go really quickly. I don't know. It seemed to go quicker than last week. I'm not sure time-wise whether that actually happened, or it was just everything was racing. But there's almost like there's not enough time to win it, but there's plenty of time to lose it. And felt like going into half-time that we're in a little bit of trouble because Sydney had momentum. They bit back, and we needed to dig deep again and find a way, and so even whether players weren't contributing like they'd like to or not, in the end we again had the even contribution of the 22, and in big games like this you have to have that.
Well done, great stuff there, Luke Beveridge. what a coaching performance it has been to keep his team up through all the adversity throughout the year. It was a superhuman effort, boys, no doubt about that. 22 superhuman efforts today, and Brad Johnson's found a 23rd superhuman in the rooms there tonight. It's Thor himself, Chris Hemsworth.
Well, Chris, how are you feeling, mate? This is just unbelievable, isn't it?
Mate, a lot of tears just shed just then, mate. That was incredible. One of the most nerve-wracking couple of hours of my life. It was amazing.
Well, mate, I know your Instagram post after last week's victory really set the boys up, mate. They all follow you. But how good is this? It's going to be great to get around them, isn't it?
Oh, amazing. I've been watching the boys through the year, and obviously the last couple of games were just like edge of the seat the whole time. And this was, mate, dream come true. The last grand final, as you know, they won was 1954, the year my dad was born. A Footscray boy himself, and so we grew up following the Bulldogs, and pretty special day to have him here and see his face as well, mate.
Celebrate it with the family, mate, and now we can start talking back to back, surely.
Back to back, why not? Let's do it again.
Good man. Good luck with everything you're doing, mate, and celebrate this hard.
Yeah, boys, go Dogs.
Yes, enjoyed indeed. They're getting cocky here already, Dern. They're going back to back here. They're going around.
Getting a little uppity. They're willing to have their say out.
Oh, yeah, they're pretty keen, the boys out there. Good on you guys. Enjoy it. The great thing about when you win a premiership, isn't it, boys, and for all the men and women here who barrack for the Dogs, is you own the town for the next 6 months. It's as simple as that.
If they start going back to back, we'll drop off them pretty quick.
Don't worry about that. Yeah, that was like, it was great to see the whole of Victoria behind the Victorian team. I think it was wonderful. As a Hawthorn supporter, we felt that over the last 3 years. Not. That no one jumped on.
Once is good.
Yeah.
The whole country was behind the Bulldogs. Apart from a small pocket in the eastern suburbs of Sydney, I think the rest of the country is well and truly
We had a
behind.
few politicians up in the President's dinner today, the lunch, all wearing the Swans scarves. Some of them still had the plastic on it, I must admit.
We had the Prime Minister at the UN saying he was a Sydney supporter as well.
He put the moz on poor Alira, didn't he? He can stop anything at the moment, Malcolm. But anyway, let's go across now to David King and Jared Healy, who is... Oh, no, we're going to take a break. In fact, we're going to go to them in a moment. Settle down, don't get that excited. We'll find them, it's all right. We're going to go to the couch because I want to talk about this. Brownie, this is going to be a beauty on Monday night on the couch, just to put a line under season 2016. Jared Healy hosting it, one of the great shows on Australian television. Back after this to wrap up the grand final.
Thousands continue to pour into the MCG complex.
55 years since the last grand final in 1961 and 62 years since the last flag back in 1954. Wow. Jono, do you believe in destiny and fairy tales?
I do, yes, and we're going to see that this afternoon, Jason, don't worry.
Kicks to centre half forward run. Oh, yes, Parker's got it. He gets the first goal of the 2016 grand final. He uses it dark and brings it back brilliantly. What a goal!
The Swans came back just at the 11 seconds to go in the quarter. The Doggies got one back.
Johannesson, he really is doing some damage, and Boyd across that half-back line as well, damaging for the Dogs.
Mark down there, not made the grubbing. Grabbed by Dixon. Dixon's got the beauty. He's got his second. There you are.
The winner of this year's Neil Smith medalist is Jason Johannesson.
Going to get Bob Murphy up on the stand.
Welcome back to the MCG. As the great American broadcaster Al Michaels said at Lake Placid when the American ice hockey team beat the Russians, do you believe in miracles? Let's go back to the rooms now to two great Bulldogs. Brad Johnson's there with Dale Morris.
Hey, Moz, how good is this, mate? You've put your heart and soul into this footy club. for a long, long time now, mate. What you've been able to produce for a long time, well, it's all worth it now.
You've done the same thing, Jono. It's reward for effort for everyone, past players and now. This is an incredible feeling. It's a bit surreal, to be honest.
The way you played today yourself was awesome. That effort to push across on the wing and just dive down, that's just you to a teammate.
Yeah, I wasn't leaving anything out there, that's for sure. Moments like these don't come very often, so I was, always going to give it everything I had, just like all the other boys. I mean, everyone had their moment out there. You look at Boydie, you look at Hammers down back, you look at the boys up forward, getting the ball to ground it. Everyone had their moment, and look where we are now.
Yeah, mate. Take us through those last probably 30 seconds or so in the game. You knew you had it won. How are you going?
No, I was still trying to set the ground up in the zone, and Ruffy goes, Moz, forget about it. We got
the ultimate professional as always.
I wasn't going to stop until the end. So, no, when that siren went, it was pure bliss.
Well, Moz has given me my first beer, so we're going to enjoy that together. Cheers, mate. Congratulations.
Thanks, mate.
Thank you.
Good on you, boys. Drink responsibly, of course. I got a funny feeling they'll be drinking responsibly for about a month. Anyway, Alistair Lynch, your final thoughts on Grand Final Day 2016?
It's a win for the ages. It's a great win for the AFL. It was such an emotional time down in the stands when the final siren went. On the back of these people so passionately supporting their team. And you just want to see people experience that. And we've been fortunate. We've been there. And now the Western Bulldogs supporters have been there as well. Great day. Great day for footy. Great day for the Dogs.
Jonathan Brown with your cousin playing a blinder, Liam Pickett.
Liam Pickett. Limo, you're a star, mate. You're a star. I'm so proud of him. And the Bulldogs team, when you read about it in the paper tomorrow, the best players, it should say team effort. Good 22 fantastic, consistent performers across the board all day. And it was one of the best things I've ever seen, I've witnessed. It was so emotional for the fans out there. When that final siren went, I can't remember anything like that apart from when we won, Lynchy.
that went all right.
Isn't it quite as good as yours?
Isn't it funny, Jim? Because we can remember a couple like that as well, can't we? Hey, tell me your thoughts, mate. You've been a lot of grand finals. You know this upside down, the wins, the losses.
I have. And just to hark back to a team which has fallen on unfortunate times, the Frankston VFA. Luke Beveridge, Matty Boyd and Tory Dixon, as a breeding ground, they've spent considerable time at the Frankston Dolphins. They've lost their licence, so they might be the last three to actually come through and make a significant contribution to a grand final premiership team. But we wake up tomorrow and the chase is on. 17 other teams tomorrow will be chasing the Dogs for the first time in 62 years.
David King has twice lifted that magnificent trophy up. Kingy, your thoughts on this day?
I didn't see it coming, I'll be honest with you, Ed. They were fantastic for the last month of football. I think that what it tells us all is that your team, if they 100% lock on and they've got the willpower the Western Bulldogs showed us today, then anything's possible. That was their theme through the finals, and Luke Beveridge was spot on. Anything was possible.
Absolutely. From a Sydney Swans perspective, we came to the game today hoping the Swans would win. But as I said this morning, if the Swans didn't win it, I was hoping the bloody Dogs would, Ed, and they did.
Good on you, Jared. You're a great man of football, and commiserations to you as a Swans man, but you are one of the greatest contributors to the AFL, and what you've done in your career, mate, for the Sydney Swans, but for football in general, should be acknowledged tonight. So well done, Jared, and magnanimous as always, mate. Well done. For me, I'll go one better than you, Jono, and say that this was a great club win. This was one from the top to the bottom. They won the VFL Premiership. This was no fluke. The Western Bulldogs won the AFL Premiership. As we say goodnight to you now, Bulldogs fans, sit back because here comes the replay. And you know what? You win this one too. Have a great night. The Western Bulldogs are the premiers of the AFL.